Hello, y'all. Welcome back. This is King's Court, Season 1. I'm reviewing, recapping episode 5. So let's jump right in, okay? Um, the episode started out with a conversation between Janae and Carlos, where Janae, she was talking about how things basically have been perfect so far between her and Carlos. Like, everything's been pretty good. They haven't had any great mishap. They haven't had any great disagreements. No one has come in to like mess things up so far between them. So they've had it kind of good and sweet. So she's kind of like talking about that. And she felt like the shoe on the other foot hasn't dropped yet. And she mentioned that she feels like Jennifer may be that other foot to drop because Jennifer is the perfect match, right? Based off the matchmaking skills. Jennifer was his perfect match. So she feels like maybe Jennifer is going to be that like foot that dropped for her. Maybe he'll find a connection with her. And who knows? You never know because things can change, things can turn around. Who knows? And he say he was attracted to her. So it's just one of those things. Then the conversation panned over to Thaddeus, and Thaddeus was sitting at a table with all the girls. They were probably just, sitting around having lunch or whatnot, but they were just chatting, right, having a conversation. And Thaddeus, he had mentioned, I guess one of the girls had asked him, or I should say women, one of the women had asked them, how'd you know like certain ones weren't like the previous women that came in, how'd you know like maybe some of the women weren't a good match for you or whatnot. And I don't know if they asked specifically if Jennifer wasn't a good match, but he was like, yeah, I don't think Jennifer would have been a good match because she wanted children, and I knew that I didn't want children, or didn't want any more children, so I knew that wasn't going to be a good match. And then, of course, Tari, kind of jumped in and saying, well, how can you deny yourself, I guess, if you found someone that you liked or love or whatever, how would you deny yourself from, giving them a child or giving them new life? She said, what do you have against new life and bringing that somebody that looks as beautiful as you or whatever? Like why would you want that to end? And, he was like, well, it has nothing to do with new life. He was like, I was married previously and I have 3 children from that marriage. And he's like, after my divorce, I knew I didn't want to go around I know I didn't want any more children. Or he said his intention at that time was not to really get married again at that time, So because at that time he was like, I know I'm going to be, a man is a man, right? So he kind of knew like he would be out there, but didn't want to have all these children. So he decided that a vasectomy was the best option for him. So he was like, that's why I had a vasectomy, because I didn't want to create broken homes. There's no need for me to have children out of wedlock, knowing that, I didn't plan at that time to go down a path of another marriage, and she kind of pushed the issue to where he basically had to tell his story that, the reason why he don't want a broken home is because he's from a broken home. He told how he was a product of rape. His mom was only 11 years old when she was raped. He didn't give, who or what or any of that, but she was only 11 years old when she was raped. And when she gave birth to him, she was only 12 years old. And he said him and his mom didn't have a good relationship, all the way up until he was 17. And then he learned about her situation and it all made sense. He realized it was just a child raising a child, So he got the understanding now. And he said he loved his mom and he appreciated his mom. And, to him at this point, his mom is his hero. And, it was a sad but beautiful story, knowing that of all of that, he came to understand what his mom went through and respect that. And, so of course Tari did apologize to him. He did hug her because she started crying. But I did feel some type of way about her line of questioning, only because it's like, people can choose what they want for themselves. It's not up to you to decide like well, what if you find a woman, like, why would you have a like, she is basically like, well, why would you have a vasectomy? Like, it's his choice. He can choose to do whatever he wants. It's his body, you know, like how they say your choice, your body. Like, it applies to men too, you know, not just women. Now, you know, there's circumstances where, you know, if you're in a relationship where you're a marriage where you're planning on having children and you do something behind the other partner's back without letting them know you can't have children, that's so different from what Thaddeus, from the reason why Thaddeus had his vasectomy. And for you to kind of guilt him into or force him basically, because he had nothing to feel guilty about, you know, forcing him to answering your question and by telling a story about, you know, his personal life that was so deep and personal to him, you know, in that situation, I don't think that was really appropriate on her part. But I thought he handled that very well. You know, he wasn't disrespectful. He just said his piece, and, you know, and he understood, like, he understood when he saw her crying. I guess it triggered something in him to say, hey, maybe I can see where she's coming from, and maybe she has some pain. You know, he could see some pain behind those tears. So he was like, I want to learn more about her, you know, but I can respect that because that line of questioning was a little inappropriate, I felt at first. So he definitely handled that situation well. So moving on to the pool area. I guess they threw a pool party. And it was funny because they're all just sitting around joking about, you know, Tyson's list that he had. And it was so, like, early in the morning. It was like 12 something. Like, they kept putting the time on the screen, like 12 something in the morning, 1 a.m. And I was like, what? They're filming kind of late. But, you know, I guess with filming, there's no type of, you know, set schedule. Like, it doesn't matter if it's in the morning or in the afternoon, in the middle of the day, or if it's like late at night. I guess they film anytime. You can just throw a pool party at midnight, you know? So that was interesting because I honestly thought the pool party was taking place during the day, but they showed the time in Tyson's list. So I was like, oh, okay. But Sarah, she was saying that she's not a fan of Tyson's list, and she was really struggling with that. And of course she had a 1 o'clock slot time. Okay. That was her time. And I guess, Felicia's time must have been 12 something. Like, so Felicia had gone past her time because she was just having a good time chit-chatting with Tyson. So she had gone past her time into Sarah's time. So Sarah's like, I'm going to bed because this is just ridiculous. Okay. And of course, Felicia was good with it. She's like, I'm cool. And, you know, just, you know, she didn't say I'm cool with it, but I'm just like, her behavior was like, I'm cool with this. Like, I'm glad I'm spending time with the man I like. So the guys, of course, the guys were happy. I guess the ladies were, you know, looking good or whatever. Let's see. Tyson. Okay, Felicia and Tyson. Okay. So, again, a situation with Sarah came up, right? So Felicia, I guess Tyson went up to Felicia and he was like, come here, let me do something. And, you know, she kind of ran jump on him a little bit. Like, just a weird thing where she jumped up real fast and then he was able to put her on top of his shoulders over. I'm like, okay. That says I wouldn't mind that, you know? So he did something like that, and he was like, wait, we can do that a lot better. We'll have to try that again. And, you know, of course, Felicia, she did not mind it. She did the, oh, that's my man type thing. You know, like, that's my man. Which I didn't really see anything wrong with that, but for whatever reason, Sarah took that as some type of, like, dig at her specifically. She's like, oh, I noticed she looked over when she said that. And I was like, I didn't get it. I was like, so what if she looked over and she said that? Y'all are in competition for the same. This is it's a dating show, but it's a dating competition. You're in it for the same guy. So she's going to be like, yeah, that's my man. And we just did that, you know, and I get it. You know, it is what it is. I don't think it was, because I thought they were cool, because I thought in another scene I'd seen them together kind of chit-chatting. So I was like, I thought they were cool, so I don't know how it's flipped so quickly that Sarah thought Felicia was taking like a dig at her. I don't know. So she was like, I don't think she realized that she was playing. It was weird. I don't know why she was so bothered by her saying that. It was very weird to me. Um, and then of course in the pool, Thaddeus, I guess he announces to the ladies that he was gonna have a list. Okay, he was gonna have a list for the ladies as well. And I'm just like, what? And of course, Dr. Ariel, she was in the pool and she was just like, what did she say? She said, um, she felt that it was inorganic. She felt it was inorganic and that he was trying to change his dynamic to mirror Tyson's dynamic. And so she just didn't like that. And she said, I don't want to participate in that. And I felt her on that. I was like, why would I want to participate in something like this? Like, she's expressed already in the previous episode that she thought that list was silly. Like, why would you even want to do, like, and even Thaddeus, I think, had expressed that he thought that list was silly. So for him to actually say that, like, to me, that was just like, what are you doing? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Then I guess Tari always got to jump in, right? So then I guess Tari jumped in and she was like telling Dr. Ariel, like, she was like, people have waited their whole life for love. So, basically don't be bothered by lists. You can wait a little longer. You can put yourself on the list and wait. Cause she was like, I'm gonna sign up. Like, oh gosh, Tari. But we know Tari's gonna be Tari and say something like a little off kiltered or just interject when it's not necessary unnecessarily, right? Like in a situation again. Then she asked Dr. Ariel, Tari asked Dr. Ariel, she was like, so are you nervous? I was like, Tari, have you not seen the dynamic between Dr. Ariel and Thaddeus? Like, up until this point, Dr. Ariel had nothing to really worry about. Nothing. Like, she was his type. Okay? Like, what would she be jealous or nervous or whatever you're saying? Like, it doesn't even make sense. I swear. But whatever with that situation. What I didn't like was the situation that took place after. Okay? And I did not like this. Okay, so Thaddeus, he spoke to Dr. Ariel. He's saying that she shouldn't have voiced her concern with his idea of the list in front of the other girls. I was like, sir. He felt like she should have pulled him aside and spoken to him about her concerns with this list. And I was like, you were having an open conversation. Like, you said what you said out loud, talking about, Tyson, what are we gonna do? Like, you said your stuff out loud, and she's supposed to, just be quiet and sit back and be quiet? That didn't make any sense. Then he said that her behavior was not Queen's behavior. Yes, it was. I did not see nothing that she did as not Queen behavior. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Even to say that to her, I was like, why are you opening your mouth to even say that to her? So I did not agree with that whatsoever, because I thought she even expressed herself. If y'all go back and watch that, it was very eloquent. She stated what she felt in that moment, and it was not disrespectful. It was none of that. She was just stating what she felt. And actually, Tari's the one that wanted to do the back and forth, and Dr. Ariel didn't even give that to her. So you telling her she's going back and forth with these women in the pool, she didn't go back and forth at all. She said what she said, and that was it. So I didn't like the way how he spoke to her in that moment, saying that he didn't feel like it was Queen behavior. What did he say? Like, he was like, I don't feel like, yeah, he's like, I don't feel like it was whatever. I think I said what he said. I don't feel like it was Queen behavior. You should pull me aside, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that whole conversation got on my nerves. I was like, Thaddeus, stop it. Stop it. I hope when he goes back and look at it, he's like, okay, maybe I did too much in that moment, because I don't feel like she should have not said anything. And I'm glad she spoke up. So don't ever stop that. Um, then he said, then he told her like it was a test. And I'm just like, oh, excuse me? It was a test? You're testing me? Like, are you kidding me? To me, I'm just like, why even say something like that as a test? Like, honestly, you already know what her reaction was going to be. You didn't have to do that to say it's a test. You knew what her reaction was going to be. To even do that and be like, it's a test? Like, I just didn't like that. I don't like people, when men try to test you in certain situations, like, and test you with like fake scenarios. Like, give me the real stuff and see how I handle it then, versus test me with a fake scenario. If you're going to really do a test, test me. If you're going to invite me out to dinner to see how I react, well, then invite me, feed me, do what, whatever the test is, make it real so that way you can really see my reaction. Don't test me with a fake scenario and see my reaction to a fake outrage. And the scenario was ridiculous to begin with, because I think Tyson's list is ridiculous. So trying to test me with something ridiculous to see how I respond. And then the way I responded, she didn't even respond out of pocket. I don't know. But I'll move on because that bothered me. So at the pool party, move on to Tyson. Tyson noticed that Kat was kind of withdrawn. So and Kat is the DJ. He noticed that Kat was kind of withdrawn. So, and she's been expressing this since last episode. We saw that, she was still feeling some type of way. She was feeling uncomfortable. It was just, she wasn't, the dynamic between the ladies, all these ladies vying for one man's attention. Well, three men, but different ladies vying for each individual man attention. It was just like, it was too much for her. And it was just not like, this was not her jam, right? And so he pulled her aside. They chatted and she told him, I want to go home or whatever. And so it was fine. She agreed to go home. They agreed that that's fine. He said, we should be friends. She said, whatever. Well, she didn't say whatever. She said, yeah, like, let's be friends. Sorry. She said, whatever. Yeah, she didn't say whatever. She said, yeah, we can be friends. She agreed. Sorry, sometimes when I use certain things, I have to remember that it may not come out like, in my mind, when I say whatever, it's just like, cool. But if y'all are listening and I say whatever, you might, she said whatever. No. In my mind, like, whatever. It's just, okay, like, whatever. Cool. Okay. Then there was Sarah. She was talking to Tyson. She went and talked to Tyson. That's what happened. Sarah went and talked to Tyson about how she felt like Felicia was making a dig at her because Felicia was like, oh, that's my man. And I'm just like, this girl is just not getting it. I was like, that's not what Felicia was not digging at anybody, or not intentionally, it wasn't like, it was just fun. Like, yeah, that's my man. Like that type of thing. It wasn't like, come on. So she was like, basically, you shouldn't say that that's your man when you don't know for sure. Like, it's not that deep, and it was not even like that. So Felicia, Tyson, I guess, went and talked to Felicia, and Felicia was like, yeah, not my problem. She was like, not my problem. She's like, I don't have a problem with the girl. Like, I don't know why you're coming to me with this. Handle that with her. Like, we're not about to do this. That's not my problem. Like, don't come to me with some other woman problem about me and you. Like, that's not my problem. And yes, Felicia was right in that moment. Like, because it was a ridiculous concern. So, yeah, I agree. Oh, the sun is doing something. Okay, stay where you are for a little bit. So moving on, they had an elimination dinner. So 4 ladies were invited to elimination dinner. It was Tari, Dr. Ariel, and Sarah and Stephanie. For Tyson, he felt like Sarah was being petty, in the situation. After thinking about the situation, he felt like she was being kind of petty, and he felt like maybe she was starting drama. So he was talking to her about that. Then she was like, well, I'm just not going to talk to nobody then, I'm barely even going to talk to you. So again, she was just on a different level of whatever, but he seemed to like that. He was just like, well, are you not going to talk to me either? And, they're being playful back and forth. So he seemed to like her little spunky attitude. And even though he saw that she was creating drama unnecessarily, and especially in that situation, he was still okay with it. So he was still okay with that conversation. And then, of course, Tari She was speaking to Thaddeus, and she connected with, after Thaddeus was speaking to her, he said she connected with his story because, her mom had somewhat of a similar story too with, I guess, maybe one of her siblings or something. So she said she connected with her, and he told her that, she needed to heal before she could love him the way he needed to be loved. Um, I was like, okay, well, the son, come on, do your thing, please. Um, the way he needed to be loved. But it's just one of those things. When he said she needed to be healed, and I'm just like, just because she expressed some there, because then she was like, I agree, and I'm just like, just because somebody feel or connect with a situation that doesn't mean they need to heal. Like, I get this culture has a big thing now with therapy and healing and this, that, and the other, and that mental and all that stuff. And I get it, because I completely agree as well. Like, there's certain things where you need therapy and you need to heal and but I was like, in this situation where she just felt a connection, with his story, and was crying because she felt that connection. I was like, Tari needs to heal from a lot of things, okay? I was like, Tari he's just a little troublemaker in some aspect, But at the end of the day, I was like, her connection with you, you felt like she needed to heal, like, and she can't love you in the way you needed to be loved because she needed to heal. I was like, I felt like that was a little bit of a reach. And, she was like, I agree, or whatever. She was agreeing with him. And I was like, like, I understand that the situation was emotional, and maybe she do need to heal from something or the other. But I don't know. In this situation, I was like, But, whatever. They were able to part, amicably. Yes. So it's fine. And then, of course, Thaddeus, he spoke to Dr. Ariel. And, of course, he told her he didn't like how she handled herself at the pool, because I guess he didn't want people to say, like, if they were to go out and she was to express her opinions, he didn't want people to say, oh, your girl be tripping or whatnot. I was like, who is going to say, who's, like, I don't know. Maybe he's had situations before but I was like, she doesn't give that energy. So, but again, whatever. Like I said, I didn't agree with the way he handled that situation with her, but that's neither here or there, because she does like him. So at the end of the day, Tari was sent home because she needed to heal. She should have been sent home, but to heal, I don't know. And then Carlos, he sent Stephanie home because he said he felt like a homey vibe with her, and I felt that too. Like, I don't think they connected. Like, the way he responded to other women and compared to Stephanie, like, I didn't see that. Stephanie's gorgeous. So, and she's, but I didn't see the connection with them. So, that was it, y'all. That's it for this recap and review. We'll see what happened next week with some of these connections, especially with Dr. Ariel and Thaddeus, because we haven't seen anything yet, because some of these other women they're ready to step it up a notch. You can see it, Carlos, I don't know. He's got some woman, and he said he's interested in Jennifer too. So Janae may have something coming. So we'll see what happened next week. So thank y'all for watching, and that is it. Bye.